Hi, Charlie.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. Me too. How are you?
Awesome. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, you have to go a little past
Yeah.
to get it. Okay.
Yeah. First gear. So we'll go a little bit of off-roading.
Yeah.
We don't have much, but see, no, didn't have to clutch. All about torque.
Yes.
A lot of cars here today.
Yeah.
We had the event this morning. We had cars and coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, we had about, I'd say, 50 vehicles of all different kinds. Oh, it moves along just fine. Yeah. And the brakes, it stops with all three wheels.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Brembo brakes.
Yes.
And so this is the front brake, it does the front wheel. And then your foot brake does the sidecar and the rear wheel of the bike. So when you're engaging your front brake with your foot, it's very powerful.
Yes.
And then on the right-hand turns, yes, we do that. So that way we can pick a little bit more speed. We didn't have to go for this speed, but it's nice.
Yeah.
And then if you give it a little throttle, it will actually hug the turn even more so. Yeah. And then on the left-hand turns, slightly different dynamics. So it's actually a lot of fun.
You've got it like an outrigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the left-hand turns, you just watch out that corner, because if you brake in the left-hand turn, it may start diving. So which means if you draw the line between that wheel and the weight goes more there, it's going to lift up that wheel. And it's still okay. You just lean back, but it takes a lot to get to that point.
How long did it take you to learn how to handle it?
You can keep learning. You can still keep learning, but from the standpoint of the best thing is actually to learn not to get into these situations, but to keep all three wheels on the road, and it's very easy. All you need to do is just go a little slower. That's it. So do you want to take it around the building?
I would love to.
Yeah. So this has a hand shifter. It's another cool feature. You see, you can shift with your foot, or you can shift with your hand. So I'm in first gear, so I'm just gonna tap it forward. Oops, here's my neutral. You see that little neutral light? So then when you go, you can do it with your foot, but that's no fun.
No.
So you do it with your hand.
So same as the foot, kick down multiple times or pick up.
Yep, that's your first gear. That's your neutral. That's the neutral. And that's the second gear. That's third. That's fourth. That's third. That's second. That's first.
So is it one neutral second, or is it neutral 1, 2, 3?
No, it's actually one neutral, second, third, fourth.
Yes.
You can still occasionally have like a fake neutral if you didn't shift all the way. It can feel like you're neutral, but you would be between the gears. So give it a try.
Sounds
Your
good.
first Ural ride.
I'm excited.
And this one has a food box, so you can just step on it. Oops. Yeah. And actually, this seat for you is perfect because you can seat back.
It's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. And then same as a regular motorcycle, we've got right rear brake.
Yeah.
And the sidecar brake.
Yeah.
Over there. And then shifting on the left.
Yeah, shift it. Well, wait for me. I'm gonna go with you.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit here so I get a better angle. Yeah, you can actually look at this. You can sit. This is highly legal. We're not on a public road, just for our viewers. And you can sit on this. We have a pad. This is for beach. Like you can. We have a pad that bolts here, and you can actually sit here. And you definitely need to have a good grip. And you have your foot. You have your feet right there, and it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And you can still have a person here in the sidecar. So yeah, no, just towards you. Hold it. Just hold it there. Start releasing the clutch just a little bit, and it will pop in. Yep. And you don't need a lot of gas. They have plenty of torque. It's like a tractor. That's the famous drivetrain, shaft driven. Have you operated ATVs?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so you just point the steering and it goes. Yeah, that's your handbrake. Away from you would be second gear. Yep. Yeah, you can stay in second gear. It's no problem.
So much torque.
Yeah, the torque is, you can just feel each piston like kicking in.
That is a good feeling.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling. Yep. Towards you, and if it didn't kick in, you just do the same trick with a clutch. Are we in first?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, we are. And here's something else you can try.
Yeah.
Like when we're there, and I'm gonna sit in the sidecar for this exercise, but when we're here, try to slow down with the brake kind of a little harder than usual. And you'll see it will not dive at all. It will not dive at all. It's like...
So, I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, that's the brilliance of the leading forward front suspension. The way that suspension works, it just works that way. It does not dive. You can hit it really hard, and the harder you hit, the straighter it stays. Well, yeah, and you can lock up the wheels, nothing will happen.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can try kind of like a semi-emergency braking, like front brake followed by the back brake, and you'll be amazed. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's with two people on the bike. It's a pretty big bike.
What does this whole outfit weigh?
Before the cargo and you and the passenger, I think it's like 650, 680, something like that.
Okay.
With a sidecar, of course.
The amount of effort, there's a fair amount of steering. You have to really, if you're not leaning at all.
You're not leaning, you're actually steering with one wheel.
Yeah.
But you get used to it. And there's another cool thing about the steering is when you decelerate, it helps you with a left turn. when you accelerate, helps you with the right turn. So on the road, it's almost like it's a fun factor. You come to a right-hand turn, you come in a little slower, and you feather the throttle in the right-hand turn. Of course, you have to be slow enough. And then,
It's okay if I turn here?
oh yeah, yeah. So when you go around that turn, come into that turn a little bit slower, and have a little bit of throttle. Be on the throttle, not heavy acceleration, just a little bit of throttle on the right-hand turn, and you'll see.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see. You see, you can play with it. It's actually very cool. But you can assist yourself with the right-hand turn with a little bit of throttle.
That's so counterintuitive.
Yeah. And on the left-hand turn, you come in a little quicker to the left-hand turn, and just before the turn, you let off on the throttle and continue your turn. You don't have to do it that way. You can just go slower and do it.
Yeah.
Just steer. That's. Oh, I love your Toyota. Is that yours?
Yes.
Oh. Wow, that thing is awesome. Yeah.
I generally have a set of BF Goodrich tires on it.
Oh, yeah.
Even nicer than the winters that are on there now. Are we in second now?
No, we're still in first. You can do the hill. Just step on that. Step on the back side of the shifter.
I'll stop.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up here. Okay.
Yeah. So if you have your toe like to 11 o'clock, and then it will clear the space to hit the heel part of the shifter easily.
Understood.
All you do is just tap it down, like really just.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, when you hit the brake, it wants to go a little left.
Yes, and that can be adjusted with that steering. So squeeze the clutch. What we've been doing, we've been riding it with no hydraulic steering damper. So you see this thing? If you put it the other way, let's give this a try. You'll see it'll be a little stiffer on the steering,
Okay.
but it will not react to your throttle as much.
Okay.
Yeah, try to decelerate. Yeah, you see how it goes straighter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much fun. Me too.
I know.
So
I knew
much
you'd
fun.
love it. I knew you'd love it.
They go around in circles forever.
Yep. You can actually leave it in gear so it doesn't roll, just like a car. And look at this. It's actually looks like it's the right size for you.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have so much room to go back.
Yeah. Well, this would be a great video if you allow us to post it with you, because we have a lot of people that are tall.
Yeah.
That always they call the first question they have, oh, I'm 6 foot whatever, is it going to work for me?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this. I'm surprised at how well it fits here. I've got a 36-inch inseam, and so most of my height is in my legs, but I'm surprised because it's comfortable there.
Yeah.
And then the reach is good.
Yeah. And this is adjustable, somewhat adjustable, because just like on any bike, there are splines here,
Okay.
and you can actually move this easily, rotate that, and it will bring this kind of like this.
It'll all
Yeah.
rotate forward.
It will rotate forward. It will go up and forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and the very, very cool.
So if you were, this is actually very interesting. Grab this thing. Not this is interesting. Interesting that you, for the first time, you were in the sidecar.
Yes.
So what's your impression?
It's unlike any riding experience I've ever had. It feels sort of like riding on an ATV, except you're not, and you're not driving it, and you're off to the side. It's fun to be part of the driving experience because when the driver's turning right, you have to lean off and kind of help counter it. And then when you're turning left, you can just kind of feel the weight coming back through the sidecar and coming through that sidecar wheel. So it's like nothing I've ever ridden. Yeah, the closest thing would be an ATV, except I'm not steering it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you smiled all along, and that's a great sign. Sounds like you had fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
How do you shift into two-wheel drive? Because I think this is capable of that.
That is very capable of that. Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, if you look down, there's a lever kind of behind your left foot right there. So if you pull it away and then bring it back towards the rear wheel, yeah, that's in two-wheel drive. So right now you're in two-wheel drive.
So two.
That's one-wheel
One
drive.
and two.
Yeah.
I'm used to trucks with 2 and 4, but okay.
And that makes this bike totally unbelievable off-road, because with the big 19-inch wheels, those knobby tires, this thing can just plow through some serious off-road obstacles.
And it must be a little harder to steer once it's locked in, because that's a completely locked differential, right?
Well, we didn't introduce Charlie. He's an engineer.
Okay.
So he's the questions he asks are awesome, because you absolutely cannot use that on dry pavement.
Okay.
Because that is a locked axle. There's no differential. Ural used to have a differential, and it was not totally great idea, because with no weight in the sidecar, you would lose traction on that wheel before you can actually take off.
Oh, okay.
So I forget which year that was, but early 2000, they completely redesigned their rear drive. They did away with all the time all-wheel drive, because that was all the time all-wheel drive, which you don't need on the dry pavement.
Yeah.
But then again, you needed that in the off-road situations, and you didn't have good traction on that wheel. So they went to on-demand two-wheel drive with a lever, and once you engage that, you have a solid axle, no lost traction, it just plows through. And since we need two-wheel drive in the low traction situations, that allows for the one wheel and the other wheel to slip against each other when you're turning.
Yep.
Because when you're turning, wheels travel at different speeds. But that was a great question.
Thank you.
Because that, two things: you cannot use it on the pavement. You don't need to, and you cannot, because you won't be able to steer. It would want to go straight. And if you're a Ural owner and one day your bike wants to go straight, you're in two-wheel drive. So, but yeah, that's a very good question. Maintenance are the other thing. So easy on these bikes.
How so?
Because if you look at it, you have unobstructed access to anything on the bike. You pretty much get what you see, because you have your, we need to be careful with pipes, but this is your spin-on filter.
Yep.
This is your oil filler and also oil dipstick. And your drain is directly below on the bottom of the engine. And this is nice clean Ural oil.
That reminds me of another question. What is it like getting parts and maintenance for this? Is this something people can do themselves? Do you need to order all your filters directly from Ural or a dealer?
We actually are not only the largest dealer in US or in the world, but we have the largest online presence, uralme.com. We have now over 800 of accessories and parts available, and we ship them daily. So yeah, we do have a lot of people that and have bike shops that order parts for their customers and would ship the same day, and you can buy a complete maintenance package with even the funnel. We have an S-shaped funnel that allows easy fill of the transmission because the funnel goes like this.
Yeah.
And then you can do a complete fluid maintenance in a half an hour to 45 minutes. And you can order everything. We have stuff in stock, and obviously spark plugs are easy to replace. Air filter is easy to replace right there.
So would this top piece come off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you just undo these bolts and lift it up, and there's enough gap to slide out your air filter.
And what exactly is this?
That is more of a cool factor right now, but it used to be on a Ural, it used to be a Kickstarter.
Does it still kickstart?
You have to be a very powerful person and probably an engineer, because you would have to set up the piston. Not set up, but you'd have to time everything. On the carbureted engines, it was phenomenal. Like that bike, you can start it with half a kick. When it went to fuel injection, in order for the fuel injection to ignite and get going, it needs a full 360 revolution of the engine, which is very hard to do with a Kickstarter.
Oh, so you need to have one piston at like top dead center?
Yes.
And then hit it?
And then hit it and
around.
make sure you get it 370 or 80, because you need to go over 360 in order for the kickstart to really start. And because this particular bike has a foot box,
Yeah.
it is virtually impossible, because you lose about 10% of the throw on a Kickstarter because of that. But the good news is that the starters are super reliable. We are in neutral. So all you need to do, just hit that for a quick second, and it starts. But you can hear it needed that like full rotation.
Yes.
And the starters are, you can see it's an automotive style starter. It's as big as probably the starter in your Toyota car, or
It's almost identical.
Yep, it's identical. It's easy to, if you have to service it, but again, we rarely sold them or replaced them. They are over designed for this engine. They probably used it off of some car engine. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for your participation today. We definitely lucked out, and I hope you enjoyed your Ural ride, your first sidecar ride.
I most definitely did. Thank you, Dimitri.
Yeah.